Hello, dear listener. If you're tuning in from somewhere quiet tonight, maybe a rainy evening in Seattle, or a starry night in Austin, pull up a chair. I'm Eleanor Hayes, 72 years young, or so I tell myself on days when the mirror doesn't argue back. I've walked through shadows you might recognize, the kind that creep in when family turns stranger than a half-remembered dream. But stick with me. This isn't just my tale, it's a map for anyone who's ever wondered if truth can outrun a well-spun lie. And at the end, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening from? Drop a note below. Every word you share feels like company on this winding road. If my words stir something in you, give them a gentle like, help them find their way to someone else who needs them. It started on a gray afternoon in Pembroke Pines, Florida, the kind where the humidity clings like an uninvited guest. My husband, Robert Tweed, shared 42 years of sunrises, and scraped together suppers had slipped away after a quiet battle with his lungs. His service was held in a modest chapel off the highway, the air thick with lilies and the murmur of old friends paying respects. I sat in the front pew, fingers twisted around a faded lace doily he'd given me on our anniversary, back when we were young enough to believe troubles came in tidy packages. Our son, Thomas, arrived late, as always a whirlwind in a tailored navy suit, his phone buzzing like a trapped hornet in his pocket. At 37, he'd built a thriving logistics firm down in Fort Lauderdale, the sort of success that fills headlines but empties calendars. I used to clip those articles, tape them to the fridge in our cramped unit to see, whispering prayers of pride over my morning oatmeal. But pride has a way of hollowing out when visits dwindle to holiday cards and texts that read like obligations. He approached me after the eulogy, his hand enveloping mine in a squeeze that was firm but fleeting. His eyes, so like Robert's deep brown, flecked with gold, held a softness I hadn't seen in months. "Mom," he said, voice low with that mix of affection and haste, "I just needed to check you're settled in that beautiful estate I got for you, right? The one with the courtyard you always dreamed of." The chapel's hush deepened, forks pausing midair at the reception table nearby. I blinked, my throat tightening like a fist around forgotten keys. Estate. For 2 years now, I'd been patching leaks in Unit to C's, sagging ceiling with mismatched buckets, stretching Robert's pension to cover the electric bill, and the occasional aspirin for my aching knees. No grand gates, no sun-dappled lawns, just the echo of neighbors' laughter through thin walls, and the scent of boiled cabbage from the unit below. "What estate, Thomas?" My words came out steady, though my pulse thrummed like summer thunder. "I've not left to sea since the day Robert got sick. If there's a dream house out there, it's one I haven't woken to." His brow furrowed, confusion etching lines that made him look boyish again. "The villa in Coconut Grove, the one I closed on 24 months back. You told me the fountain in the entryway reminded you of that trip to Spain." He glanced over his shoulder, where his wife, Victoria, hovered like a shadow in pearl earrings and a sheath of charcoal silk. Her perfume cut through the floral haze, sharp as citrus, rind notes of ambition, and something brittle beneath. Victoria glided forward, her smile a polished veneer, lips the color of ripe pomegranate. "Darling, she's probably just overwhelmed. Grief plays tricks on the mind." Her voice was honey over gravel, pitched for the ears of aunts and cousins clustered nearby. I caught the pitying nods, the sidelong glances that whispered, "Poor dear," losing her grip, but I wasn't adrift. "Overwhelmed? No, Victoria. I recall every drip from that faucet in to sea, every grocery run on a budget that barely buys rice. If there's a villa with a fountain, it's not seen my footprints." The air in the chapel thickened, relatives shifting like leaves in a sudden gust. Thomas's eyes darted between us, a crack forming in his certainty. Victoria's smile faltered, her fingers tightening on her clutch until the leather creaked. In that suspended breath, I saw it, the flicker of a fox cornered by hounds. She recovered with a laugh like shattering crystal. "Oh, Eleanor, you're pulling our legs on a day like this. Let's not burden Thomas." But the seed was planted. As the crowd thinned, dispersing into the humid dusk, Thomas pulled me aside near the chapel's oak doors. "Mom, this doesn't add up. I'll swing by your place tomorrow. We'll sort it." Behind him, Victoria lingered, her gaze a cool appraisal, as if weighing whether to douse the flame or fan it. I met her eyes, unflinching. "Tomorrow's fine, son, but secrets have a way of souring funerals. Let's air this one before it festers." Cousin Beatrice Roberts, sharp-tongued sister, with her silver bob and no-nonsense brogues overheard, as she gathered her coat, she paused, her voice a gentle anchor. I dropped off lemon bars at Eleanor's last Tuesday. She's still in that shoebox in Pembroke Pines, catching rain in coffee cans. Thomas went still, turning to Victoria with a question blooming in his stare. She stiffened, her necklace a strand of onyx beads quivering like a divining rod sensing fault lines. Beatrice, you must have misremembered, Victoria murmured, but her eyes betrayed her, wide, then narrowing, a silent command to Thomas to let it lie. He didn't enough. We'll talk now. He flagged down a chapel attendant, who ushered us into a side parlor scented with beeswax and wilted roses. The door clicked shut, sealing us in a cocoon of dim lamplight and unspoken accusations. I sank into a velvet armchair, hands folded to still their tremor. Thomas paced, pulling his phone like a talisman. Let me pull up the docs. The purchase for the Coconut Grove Villa signed and sealed 2 years ago. Recipient, Eleanor Hayes. He tilted the screen toward me. There it was, my name, but the scrawl beneath. Straight lines, mechanical loops, no trace of my habitual curl on the E. The slight hook from decades of handwritten letters to Robert. That's not my hand, I said, voice even as a horizon line. I've signed nothing but grocery checks and Robert's hospital forms. Thomas's face drained of color. Victoria edged toward the window, her back to us, murmuring, "This is grief talking." Not the moment, no, Thomas cut in, his tone sharpening like a blade drawn from silk. This is the moment. Victoria explained. She whirled, composure fracturing. I handled the e-signature for her. She was frail after Robert's diagnosis. Didn't want the hassle. Frail, I echoed, rising slowly. Frail enough to forge my life away. The parlor hummed with the vent's low drone, our breaths sinking in ragged rhythm. Thomas scrolled further, photos blooming on his screen. A woman in a sunlit atrium, graying hair pinned back, smiling faintly at the lens. From afar, she could pass for me, same slight build, same posture honed by years of garden work. But up close? No, Thomas, I said, pointing to the image. See the faint line on my left thumb, a nick from carving pumpkins in '05, when you were home for Halloween. She's unmarked. And here I traced my own temple. This mole, like a crescent moon, gone on her. He zoomed, the glow casting hollows under his eyes, swipe after swipe, her in the villa's sunroom, cradling a mug, strolling the tiled patio amid hibiscus blooms, unlocking a garage door with a code I'd never known, each frame a ghost. Not me. Victoria folded her arms, voice pitching high. It's you, Eleanor, just a bad angle. Stress does that. Thomas's gaze locked on her, steel creeping into his warmth. Who is she? Victoria, tell me. She swallowed, throat bobbing like a buoy in chop. I don't know what you mean. Enough games. His words landed heavy. You've been staying there, haven't you? In the home I bought for Mom. The admission slipped from her like a stone from a sling. Yes, but only because the villa's too vast for one soul, too many echoes, too isolated. I kept watch, made sure it stayed pristine. Watch. Thomas's laugh was bitter frost. For 2 years, while Mom patched roofs and skipped meals, I leaned forward, my voice a quiet river carving stone. Victoria, do you grasp what you've woven? I mourned Robert alone, rationing pills while you lounged in silk sheets, sipping wine by that fountain I never heard. Her eyes glistened. Or calculation. I meant no harm. It was temporary, to shield you from upheaval. Shield, Thomas echoed, fists clenching. You intercepted her letters, faked her voice in texts. You told me she craved solitude, that Visis wore her thin. I mourned the distance, beat myself bloody for not pushing harder. The parlor's walls seemed to lean in, shadows pooling at our feet. Outside, twilight bled purple through the blinds, gilding the roses on the sill. I watched Victoria's mass crack jealousy, raw and thorned, peeking through. You always orbited her, she whispered, her stories, her wisdom. I was the echo, fading. Thomas recoiled as if struck. So this was envy. You severed us for a spotlight. She nodded, once, defiant, then crumbling. Yes, because in your eyes, I was always second to her shadow. The words hung, venomous petals unfurling. I felt no rage, only a weary clarity like dawn breaking over a battlefield. Envy builds nothing. Victoria, it only buries the builder. Thomas exhaled, shoulders sagging under the weight. Pack your things. Leave tonight. This ends. She fled the parlor in a swirl of silk, heels echoing like retreating thunder. Thomas sank beside me, head in hands. Mom, forgive me. I was blind. I cupped his cheek, thumb tracing the line Robert's jaw had gifted him. Blindness heals with light, sun, and tonight, we've struck the match. A pause, the sound of pages turning softly, like wind through palm fronds. My voice softens, drawing you closer. 3 days later, a drizzle misted Pembroke Pines, turning the streets to silver threads. I was folding Robert's old shirts, each crease a memory, when Knuckles rapped at 2C's door. Thomas stood there, reins licked, cradling a weathered cedar chest like a penance. Found this in the villa's study, he rasped, stepping inside. We settled at the scarred oak table by the window, where Robert once sketched blueprints for dream editions we'd never afford. The room smelled of damp linens and instant coffee, a far cry from the villa's vanilla polish. He pried the lid, revealing a cascade of envelopes, ivory stock, sealed with wax seals I'd pressed myself. Birthdays, Christmases, anniversaries, my script looping across them, addressed to Thomas's office in Fort Lauderdale. Unopened, edges crisp as the day I'd mailed them. You never got them. My fingers trembled on a card from last Yule, its glitter flaking like shed illusions. Not one. His voice cracked, pulling more. Stacks from 18, 19, even earlier. Victoria said the post was spotty, that you'd stopped writing because ... because I was too wrapped in work. I rifled through, each envelope a dagger tip of solitude. Nights I'd penned them by lamplight, words tumbling like confessions. Miss your laugh, son. Come for pie soon. Mailed with stamps, licked on dreams of reunion. And these, he slid over printouts, emails bearing my name, tone clipped and distant. Thomas, space is what I need now. Calls tire me. Forged replies confirming solitude I'd never craved. I don't touch keyboards for more than recipes, I murmured. The lies chill seeping bone deep. She spun a web, didn't she? Made you the villain in your own story. He nodded, jaw tight. Then, from the chest's depths, a slim volume emerged, bound in midnight leather, pages whispering secrets. Her ledger, Thomas said, tucked in her vanity, not a diary, a blueprint for division. I cracked it open under the table's bare bulb. Victoria's script marched like soldiers. Ring Eleanor. Thomas tied up in meetings. Can't visit. Tell Thomas. Mom insists on quiet. She's wary. Dates aligned with my silences. May 15th. Eleanor mailed a scarf. Stash it. Claim lost in transit. Mother's Day dispatched lilies to 2C. Signed Thomas's name. Evening call. He's delayed in transit. Sends love but begs off chat. Aim. Token warmth. No real tether. My breath hitched. Last spring's lilipale. As apologies had wilted on my sill while I savored their ghost, believing Thomas's heartbeat distant but true. All staged, a puppet show with me as unwitting prop. Thomas flipped ahead, his nail tracing a clipped entry. Escalation note, limit their overlap. Truths unravel in proximity. She orchestrated it all, he whispered, jealousy as architect. I closed the book, its weight settling like judgment. Not greed alone, Thomas, control. She dimmed my light to claim yours. He gripped my hand, knuckles white. No more shadows, Mom. We'll chase every thread, the funds, the forgeries, light it all bare. Outside, rain drummed a requiem on the awning, washing Pembroke Pines clean. Inside, fog lifted from my soul. No more self-doubts, whisper 'em. I too needy to fade it. Only resolve, sharp as dawn's edge. The audio shifts, a subtle swell of strings, evoking resolve, then fades to the hum of a car engine on wet roads. Dawn broke humid the next day, sunlight slicing through to seize blinds like accusatory fingers. Thomas arrived with a leather folio, eyes shadowed from a night of ledgers and calls. Mom, sit. This changes everything. We hunched over the table, steam curling from mismatched mugs, flipping the folio, statements from his firm. Neat rows of $1,800 monthly wires routed through Victoria's accounts for your ease. She'd claimed 3 years' worth, $64,800, vanishing into ether. I saw none of it, I breathed, tracing a transfer from Robert's final chemo round. We pawned his cufflinks for that month's doses. If this had come, Thomas's face twisted, grief and fury entwining. She swore you rerouted it, meds, utilities, even a rainy day fund. Said you insisted on privacy with finances. A hollow laugh escaped me, echoing off the peeling wallpaper. Privacy, or tally it, son, every cent a stitch in her tapestry of theft. He tallied, pen scratching like claws on bone. 36 entries, unerring, all skimmed, and look smaller ghosts. Eleanor's spa retreat, home repairs, billed to your name, spent on her whims. The numbers blurred, not from tears, but but a tide of reclamation rising. She didn't steal coins, Thomas, she stole Breath Robert's last comforts, my fragile peace. He snapped the folio shut, voice forged anew. Attorneys queued, but first, the villa, unannounced. Her eyes will confess what words won't. I nodded, rising to fetch my Kota wool relic from Robert's courting days. Lead on, but arm us with questions, not quarrels. Facts are our flint. As his sedan hummed south to Coconut Grove, palms blurring past like verdant sentinels, I gazed at the dashboard's glow. Thomas, I said softly, what wounds deepest, the loss or learning trust was the thief's sharpest tool? He glanced over, grip tightening on the wheel. Both, but knowing now, that's the bomb. Coconut Grove unfolded like a fever dream, bougainvillea cascading over stucco walls, the air spiced with sea salt and hibiscus. The villa loomed at Journey's endeavory, facade, terracotta eaves, a Roderin archway framing a courtyard where a stone cherub spouted water into a mosaic basin. Thomas's key turned with a resonant snick, unlocking not just oak but the vault of veiled truth stowed inside. Cool marble greeted us, scented with sandalwood diffusers and the faint tang of privilege. High ceilings vaulted above, light fracturing through arched windows onto rugs woven in sunset hues. Victoria descended the spiral stair, barefoot in a linen shift, the color of fresh cream. Her tawny waves loose as if for a candid portrait. Surprise flickered then steel. Thomas, back so soon, and Eleanor charming. But I wasn't expecting guests. Her tone lilted, a siren's call masking reefs. He stepped past, folder underarmed. This isn't a social call, it's Mom's home. Entry's her right. She halted mid-step, hand trailing the banister. Home, the deeds in your name, marital asset. One belong here as much as air. I moved forward, voice a calm tide. Belong, by what measure forged ink, or pilfered peace? Show me the basin I never bathed in, the rooms I never warmed. Her poise wavered, eyes snagging on the folder. Thomas set it down on the tick, consulted like a gavel. The ledger spilled open, pages splaying like exposed veins. You know this script, he said, flat as judgment, not musings, a manifesto of meddling. Victoria paled, recoiling as if scorched. Private thoughts. You rifled my sanctum. Sanctum of sins, I replied, where you logged my erasure, cards pocketed, calls curtailed, funds funneled to your vanity. She whirled on Thomas, desperation veiling as defense. She never welcomed me, your eternal anchor, me, the drifting sail. I carved space because love demanded it. Carved, Thomas's laugh echoed off tile. You severed roots for your graft. Her confession cascaded then, a dam breached. Yes, jealousy fueled etor tales of her stews, her counsel. I dimmed her to shine. The money, a buffer against your drift. The villa, my sanctuary from shadows. I traced the basin's rim, waters ripple, mocking her tears. Shadows you cast. Victoria, Robert gasped his last without ease, while you curated cruises on my dime. Thomas's eyes hollowed, love's embers banking to ash. Leave now. This shell holds no harbor for you. She clutched the stair, voice fracturing. You can't exile your vows. Courts entwined, usats, oaths, entwined in deceit, he countered. Frauds, no bond. Attorneys filed, identity theft, embezzlement. Unravel it all. Her gaze implored me, a final gambit. Eleanor, pity. I was adrift, grasping. Pity. I met her stare, unyielding as oak. I grasped Robert's hand through fevers. Alone. You grasped illusions. Depart with grace. Truth tolerates no squatters. She ascended, steps hollow, echoes fading to silence. Thomas slumped against the wall, breath ragged. I drew him close, his head to my shoulder like boyhood comforts. You honored love's intent, son. Now honor truth's demand. Sun slanted golden through clear story windows, gilding the cherub's wings. The villa breathed freer, shadows retreating like scolded specters of breath. The audio warming with acoustic guitars, evoking community gathering under twilight skies. Victoria barricaded after that, curtains drawn, locks bolted, her silhouette a ghost pacing lit rooms. Thomas's calls met voicemails, void. Days blurred to a week. I retreated to see, folding linens, brewing chamomile to stave off the churn. Justice simmers. I reminded myself not boils, on the 8th dawn. As mist burned off the pines, my landline trilled an unfamiliar prefix. I lifted the receiver, cautious. Mrs. Hayes, Sophia Ramirez here. I clean homes in Coconut Grove, and you deserve to know. My pulse quickened. Know what, Sophia? A pause, laced with fire. About Victoria. She spun tales for 2 years. Widowed by a tycoon's heart attack. The villa her sole bequest. Neighbors sent casseroles, toasted her strength at block barbecues. She even staged a vigil black veil, a sepia portrait on the mantle of some faceless gent, clipped from a travel mag. Ice veined my veins. Widowed, with Thomas, alive, breathing. Worse, Sophia pressed. Last fortnight, she prepped a gala boasted of fleeing to Tuscany for a fresh chapter. Healing from loss. The villas on the block. Quick sale whispers to a developer pair. Offers piled, closing-eyed for month's end. Painful echoes. She sighed to us cleaners. I pitied her until a cousin mentioned you. I gripped the counter, knees buckling to stool. Proofs of I need anchors, not air. Snapped pics from the gala fake vows framed her in widow's weeds. And the listing sheet, tucked in her desk, forwarded to your boy. Gratitude swelled, thick as tide. Bless you. Strangers sometimes guard better than kin. We rang off. I paced to sea's confines, visions assaulting, Victoria toasting phantom grief, pocketing sympathy while hawking my sanctuary. Deceit, not content with family colonizing a village. Thomas barreled in by noon. She entombed me in her fiction, sold our legacy. Fury crested, then ebbed to steel. Public reckoning, mom, neighbors, Kintruth's town square. I nodded, breath steadying, spoken loud, it echoes eternal. That eve, we plotted by 2C's lamp, locks rekite at dawn, invites fired to Beatrice, select cousins, Grove folk via Sophia's network. Frame it as unveiling, Thomas said. No ambush illumination. My journal claimed ink, not vengeance, but vindication. Voice for the voiceless, home for the hollowed. I scripted sparse, facts first, heart last. Boundaries aren't walls, they're wings. Saturday twilight draped coconut grove in amber veils, cicadas harassing from banyan boughs, the villa's courtyard brimmed 30 souls, Beatrice in her brogues, grove matrons with iced teas, Sophia clutching a poinsett, lanterns strung like fireflies, casting pools of gold on flagstone. Thomas stood central, folder aloft like a banner. I flanked him, simple navy frock, whispering against ankles. Victoria emerged from shadows, wheeling a valise, clad in ivory chiffony nascence's shroud. Her gaze swept us, defiant, then dawning dread. A circus, she hissed. Low for Thomas. Let me slip away, dignity intact. He met her stare, unblinking. Dignity, yours, eroded in lies. These souls deserve unmasking. You painted me cadaver. This villa your pyre. Murmurs rippled. Widow, but he's flesh and blood. Thomas unfurled pages, voice resonant as chapel bells. Victoria Hayes, my spouse, proclaimed my demise. Heart seized in prime, condolences flowed. She cradled them like crowns. Yet here I stand, the villa, mine by deed, gifted my mother. No widow's claim, only fraud's facade. Gasps crested. Mrs. Delgado, a silver-curled neighbor with garden-calloused hands, pressed forward. Victoria, I baked tamales for your loss, wept at your vigil. Cancer, you said, late bloom. Victoria quivered, smile twisting. Misheard words, a jest gone awry. Jest, Thomas's tone, iced the air. No jest in auction flyers, Tuscany tickets punched on pilfered piece. He nodded to me. Spotlights, courtyard lanterns warmed my skin. Silence fell, expectant. I spoke, words measured, carrying across Franz Russell. I'm Eleanor Hayes, Thomas's mother. For years, I rattled around unit to see alone licks for companions, pension for supper. No calls, pierced the quiet. Victoria buffeted them. Forging my withdrawal. Robert faded without Sir Sissy, hawked his pocket watch from Morphin while she siphoned. $64,800 meant for us. Emailing ghosts in my guise, all's well. Stay distant. Sighs wove through, phones kindling like stars, witnesses eternal. Victoria surged, voice shrill. Slander, private woes, not spectacle. Private, Beatrice interjected, rogues planted firm. You peddled public pity, my pies to your plate, lies to our ears. Thomas raised statements, numerals, stark under light, embezzled monthly, impersonated flawless. Attorney holds it all frauds, full ledger. The courtyard held breath. Then, release shakes of heads, whispers cresting to waves. Sophia stepped forth, poinsettia extended like truce. We trusted your tears, Victoria. Now, truth's the mourner. Victoria's facade shattered, valise clattering. You gloat. Fine rival in ruins. She stormed the gate, wheels snarling over gravel. vanishing into gloaming. Quiet bloomed. Thomas turned to me. Keys, glinting silver wards, 2 vaulted doors. These were yours from inception. Reclaim them, not stone, but soul. Metal-kissed palm, warm as hearthfire. Tremor, rose, not quake, but quickening. Son, you've bridged chasms. This, our dawn. Folks drifted near. Pats on back, murmurs of resilient soul. Mrs. Delgado pressed a flask of horchata. Live here, Eleanor. Grove needs your roots. As stars pricked velvet sky, I stood amid embers of revelation. The courtyard, once deceit's dais, now truth's. Terrace, no verdicts, only verity. Radiant in Florida's embrace. Music swells, gently harp notes, like rippling water transitioning to serene nights. Pages rustling. My inaugural night in the villa stirred insomnia's tide, not dread, but displacement's whisper. Silk sheets whispered alien. The cherubs gurgle a siren's lure to wakefulness. I wandered halls by moonlight, fingers ghosting teak panels, inhaling jasmine from unseen blooms. This space, mine by right yet, earned in tempests. Sleep claimed me piecemeal. Dreams threading Robert's chuckle with courtyard light. Morn splintered gold across canopied bed. I flung casements wide, avian chorus flooding in. The kitchen sprawled marble expands, copper pots gleaming like buried treasure. I brewed Robert's favored dark roast, steam curling vows of renewal. Initial weeks unfolded exploratory, mapping pantries, nesting linens in cedar chests, coaxing the fountain's rhythm to lullaby. Thomas orbited thrice weekly, laden with gestures, gourmet loaves, a smart thermostat unneeded, but his amends. Ease into it, Mom, he'd urge, fussing over vents. I'd smile, stirring soup, gifts fade, presents indoors. Sit, tell me of your week, unfiltered. Awkwardness thawed to thaw, Sundays scripted anew. I'd simmer Robert's arroz con pollo saffron, threading air like gilded thread. Thomas diced peppers, anecdotes spilling, deals clinched, sunsets chased, laughter resurfaced, bubbling over spice. Dishes clinked in harmony, porch swings creaking under shared silences. The villa quickened, Robert's portrait resituated, mantleside, his pipe rack a talisman on desk. Evenings, beeswax tapers flickered to Coltrane sax, shadows dancing benevolent. One crimson dusk, Sophia Ramirez knocked Flynn in tow. Packets of thyme seed, for your beds, she grinned. Heard you through the vines, thought you'd nurture green as you did truth. Gratitude bloomed, reciprocal. We bonded over shears and stories, her immigrant grit mirroring my widow's weave. Soon, Coconut Grove's senior horticulture circle claimed my Tuesdays. Wicker basket slung, trading lore of loams and losses amid fern-fringed paths. Soil under nails grounded me. Each bulb planted a pledge, from dormancy, defiance, that by month's third. The villa hosted intimates, a quartet of souls scarred similarly. A widow evicted by heirs, a matron gaslit by kin. We circled low tables, herbal infusions, steaming, parsing novels, betrayals alongside our own. No deluge of sobs, rather, sips and sighs, threads mending in shared weave. Isolation's echo faded. I echoed back, vital. Mirrors caught a stranger's grace. Lines softened, gazed limned with quiet fire. No longer the chapel's wraith, but woman weathered to willow bending, unbroken. Thomas evolved to confessions carving deeper. Victoria hollowed me. Mom charmed the shell, starved the core. Then, light, Sophia Grant, a pediatric therapist at his sponsored clinic. Her name surfaced casual, then constant eyes alight as he described her quiet storm laugh. One mist-kissed Sunday, he ushered her in, daisies clutched, auburn braids swinging. Eleanor's tales precede you, she said, voice like brook over pebble. May I assist in the galley? Unlike Victoria's varnish, Sophia's warmth was unglazed sleeves rolled for dough kneading, flour dusting her As we plated conch fritters, banter flowed, her clinic dreams, my garden plots. Thomas watched unguarded joy, etching his face, the boy reborn. Post-feast, Sophia pocketed a trowel I'd offered. Next, visit herbs from my sill. On the stoop, I observed their departure, hands laced, silhouettes sinking, anxiety absented, gratitude reigned. He heals in honesty. I witness, whole, that gloaming journal summoned. Mending isn't erased shit's embroidery over rents. Kinship cures, invoicing scars. Cherubs murmur, lulled me. Villa's pulse, synced mind steady, sovereign. Half-year post unveiling equinox winds stirred groves fronds. Justice lingered, Unresolved ledger. One cerulean morn, as I coaxed lavender from clay, Thomas strode the path, dossier in hand. Council summons, signatures, revelations. I dusted earth from palms. Unpack it here. First, we perched on wrought benches, folios splaying, ledgers submitted, emails autopsied, sale docs dissected. But deeper cuts, Thomas murmured. Victoria tapped credit veins, Eurometrics, my shield. Loans for $92,000, Milan ateliers, Aegean sales, a sommelier's sojourn, numbness crested, then receded to resolve, beyond avarice assault on self. Afternoon bore us 2 councils, Sanctum, Harlan Pierce, grizzled oak with ink-stained cuffs, frauds etched clear, he affirmed, spectacles perched, marital veil fins it, but consents, phantom, her advocates proffer settlement, culpability conceded, no cuffs for divorce's swift seal. Thomas's gaze bored the blotter. Peace over punishment. I touched his sleeve. Absolution frees the let ledgers lie. Live unburdened. Pierce nodded, crinkles deepening. Sage, her fallouts forge in a ostracized. Palm Beach, consevered. Studio squeezed in Lauderdale's fringe. Ink dried on accords. Villa's tenure etched mine lifetime lease. Unassailable. Documents arrived. Crisp. I cradled them not for wealth, but watershed twists. Terminus.post-script. Tenets took root. Fiscal candor ledgers mine. Audits annual. Thomas mirrored. Vigilance his vow. Trust thrives transparent. Affection audits nil. Borders 2. Sophia graced with Sophia's grace pre-call courtesies. Queries on vase placements. Victoria's spectre banished. Her poise bespoke scars salved. Thomas echoed. No dazzle sought just hearths. Hush. Afternoons. Groves, slant-lit tomes in alcove nooks. Victoria's venom lingered, not as grudge, but glyph. Guilt deceives, glare unveils. Will recast at desk's glow. Bequests by merit, not vain. Villa, haven for elders' fiscal forums. Tailed, signed, serene, folder, furled breeze of bequest. Serenity accreted, dawn's dusted herbs. News sipped slow. Newness, circle convened, prose probed. Poise parleyed. Evenings, Thomas and Sophia ferried vintages, vignette serenas shade shunned, unneeded. One harvest eve, porch reclined, sunset searing fronds, vermilion, cherub chuckled. I soliloquized to ether, storms schooled us, robber dignity, our dowry. Smiles surfaced, unshadowed, justice tarries, but temper's true. A final swell piano, keys cascading, like fountain spray then, intimate close. Monday's blaze gilded the gate when a battered teal sedan wheezed to halt. Engine side surrender. Door creaked revelation. Victoria illiteracies tangled. Ecru tunic frayed. Espadrilles eroded. No queen's carriage. Refugees. Resolve. Eleanor. Hoarseness honed by hollows. A moment to unburden. Beseech pardon. Pose dripped steady on petunias. Counterpoint to her quiver. Speak succeed. Old chapters claim scant chapters. She halted at filigree. I've crumbled livelihoods lost. Alliances ash. Loved Thomas fiercely. Feared eclipse. Controlled to cling. Folly's fruit. Bitter. Gaze held hers. Not serpent, but shard-shattered seeker. Words we've no wart back. Victoria. Birthdays. Barren. Vigils vacant. Robert's reprieve ransomed. Yet, glean this. Dominion devours devotion. Contrition crowns conduct. Tears traced her cheek renewal mind still, shake gentle, releasing. Renewal resides inward, not implored. Forge from fracture, fare forward. She inclined, spectral, gratitude, undeserved. Sedan swallowed her. Gravel crunched farewell finalities, flourish. Noon. Sophia rang jubilant. Eleanor's parter groves. Gem o' the month. You've verdanted us. Laughter liberated, light. Old hands, new humus perhaps. The quarter craved candor. Nay, she reposted. Safety so new rekindled it. Post-call cycles, spun neighborhood loops, zephyrs tousling silver strands, tots trilling Miss Eleanor, heart hummed harmonic, dusk, journaled, joys laconic, petunias plump as promise, risotto rendered Robert's relish revived, Thomas, Sophia, shoreline sojourn slated, ventures ventured, watercolor workshops, patisserie pursuits, park perambulations, pondered idly, absent her gale, would grace have germinated? Query quiesced, quest quenched, moonwash mantled midnight as porch pondered, cherubs chiming truce. Pardon persists, not in purge, but pilotage past's prow no more. Journal, jubilant, jasmine, smile, sovereign, no funeral frail. Nu Deuse Spectre Eleanor Hayes, Odyssey's Oracle, Loslanst, Guilger, Solitude saluted, if queried on equity, echo, not penal alone Phoenix for the phased. Voice vouchsafed sitting as sun stentorian, that vesper paella percolated saffron summoning CPS, iron skillets sang, Robert's relic, resonance rich, tires crunched, Thomas, Sophia elit Merlos, and Magnolias, Mom, Ether's elixir, Thomas beamed, sun, saluting his silhouette lad reborn, larcenies, lees lagged, Sophia arrayed arbor, linens laid luminous, fabled fripe, spill secrets, nod nostalgic, suppers savored, sorrows soused, tonight, triumph soul, porch populated, gloaming gilding grains, zephyr zipped palms, peels from proximate picnics, Thomas decanted, Mom, regale, Sophia dad's dispatch, smile summoned, Robert, reticent sage scant syllables, souls sighted, penniless in purse, prodigal in pardon, grateful he spared the snares, sequel exited, esteemed, Sophia steadied Thomas's shoulder, serene, he beams, assured, gaze graze duo, devotion distilled, villa venom's vessel once, vivified chimes, chiming cheer colloquy, cascaded logistics launches, clinics compassions, my meadows multiplied slower savors scripted, lilac leached sky, basin brimmed, terminal gleamed, quietude quilled, healings hush, not herald full, fond, post frenzies fray, musing, murmured, breezeborn, doubt no due, affection, arithmetic free, kinship, no subtraction self superadded, Thomas tacit, Sophia's clasp conveyed communion, keys kindled copper in crepuscular trinkets to tribe, talismans of tenure, reclaimed, no proofs proffered, presence paramount, domicile droned, decent decibels enough, clearance culminated, Thomas tidied, Sophia scoured, Sud's symphony, horizon hemorrhaged russet, to indigo, to ebon morrow, more milky blooms by basin not necrology, but nod to novelty, tardy but tenacious, eyes, elevated empyrean, dusk doles dawns debita, thank you, steadfast ear, for traversing to terminus, if misheard murmurs, muteness masquerading meaning, heed, respect, regard, residence, your rights we, life's late loomers, conquer, not combatants, repossess repose, radiance, bliss blooms not in bow, but bravery to bestow self-sands, stoop. Whence your watch, locale, lifeline familial fortitudes, font, comment candid, peruse, porchside, potion poised, parling paths, story sparked self-like, linger, Lincoln bark, bombs byways, bitterness, bartered for bosom's balm,